throw me in there. You know what I mean? That shit was so much fun. I had so much fun, bro. I just want to get in there ASAP, and I want it to be on the same card as Suge. I think it's only right. We've been working together for so long. It would be such a legendary moment and night for all of us and our team at Red Hawk Academy. So that's all I want to do is fight on the same card as Suge.
All right, everybody. Tommy McMillan is here. Recently competed on Dana White's Contender Series, earned a contract after an absolutely insane fight with David McGoyan. Welcome to the UFC, Tommy McMillan. How are you, sir?
Good, man. I'm doing good. How you doing this morning, bro?
I'm doing good. Has it sunk in yet? Does it feel normal to hear welcome to the UFC, or has it already hit and it feels right and there's no big learning curve in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, there's no really big learning curve. I didn't really think that it would feel any different. It's funny because I was driving home from Vegas with one of my friends yesterday, and he asked me that same question, and I was like, no, like it doesn't feel any different to me. I think maybe the thing that might look a little different is just all the amount of like love and support I'm receiving from people, from like back where I grew up at, and just all that. It's like now that they're kind of recognizing it, I guess that's the only thing that's a little different. But like in my own head and world, like I've always kind of been living like, I'm going to make it to UFC. I'm going to go on and do big things, become a UFC champion. So it just, to me, it's kind of just a small stepping stone into what I'm going to go on and accomplish.
Well, congratulations nonetheless. What an absolute sick fight that was to kick off last week's show. You faced Dave McGoyan, 21 years old. He has sort of a wild style, but it's very effective. And he had you in some big trouble early in the fight and had the mounted ghillie on you. And somehow you were just able to will yourself through all of that. What was that first round like for you, and how much danger were you in?
Yeah, dude. I mean, you definitely can't plan for a first round like that, right? I'm thankful that I got to go through it and show people, the fighter I really am. But yeah, I went out there. I felt good because I watched the fight back yesterday, and I went out there. I felt good, was just kind of getting my timing down. Felt good on my feet, and then he picked up on a tail of mine, and when he went to he did a fake level change, came up, hit me with a spinning back elbow. Because when he was level changing, I was really aware of his takedowns. But I'm a good wrestler, so I was getting ready to level change with him, kind of meet with him, crash a little bit, lower my hands, get ready to jack up his arms and stuff. And he had a good game plan. He went in, did a fake little elevation change, hit a spinning back elbow, and dude, that that knocked me on my butt real quick, and I was just like, damn, like I didn't really know what I got hit by. And then so that was about like a minute and a half into the first round, and up till then I was feeling good, kind of getting ready to build my rhythm, and then kind of all went out the door right there because I was cracked, man. I was hurt bad. I was seeing triple in there. I had no balance in my feet. Mentally I'm there, want to keep going. I can hear Tim and Suge. But then, and I know I'm hurt, and he's just throwing more bombs at me, trying to get me out of there. And I was just going through the fire, man, just trying to – I didn't want the ref to stop it, obviously. I'm the kind of kid, like make sure I'm out before you stop it. So I was just trying to stay moving, recover, and that takes a long time to recover from because before I even could kind of even know what was going on from that point, then I'm in the guillotine, right? I watched that back. I tried to the way he pulled that, I was fighting off his takedowns good, and I tried to hop my hips over, and he caught me with his far side foot, which put me in a full guard guillotine, and we rolled over. So I was in a mounted guillotine, bro, before I even knew what was going on. I'm like, dude, like I just got cracked. Now I'm sitting here in a mounted guillotine. I'm like, this is like worst case scenario. And so I was just like recovering that whole time. But, I was proud of myself, though, that I ended the first round in a dominant position on top in a front headlock, last 10 seconds. But even coming out in the the second round, dude, I still didn't have my feet under me from that hit. That spinning back elbow was tough. It was clean right on the side of the temple, I believe it was. I broke my nose some point in the fight. I don't really know when I broke it because I was pretty busted up from that first shot already. So I just kind of don't really know when that happened. But yeah, man, it was a lot of adversity, and I didn't really even get my feet back under me until about midway through end of the second. I kind of started to feel like, okay, like I'm starting to find my feet again. and like feeling like I'm good on balance and moving good. So it was a lot of adversity, man, to go through a first round like that. It was tough.
You got the shades on. Do you mind if we take a look at what everything looks like 3 days after the fight,
Yeah,
facially?
I mean it's not too bad. Just a little busted up nose.
All right, that's not too bad.
Yeah, so I mean I know he's got. I saw him in the because they made me go to the hospital and they made us both go to the hospital. I didn't want to go to the hospital because I wanted to talk to Dana. I knew I was getting my contract, and they were afraid I might have broke my jaw, my eye sockets and shit. And and I had a fat lump on my arm, so they made me get an X-ray of that. So I had to go to the hospital. I saw him in there, and his face was all taped up. I know he got a bunch of stitches, and he was in like the room that was like for fall risk. So I don't think he got out there that night, but luckily I was there. They checked me out. I just had a broken nose, so they let me go a couple hours later.
So that's, I mean, all things considered, that's probably best case scenario,
Oh
right?
yeah, broken.
Considering,
Yeah,
especially hearing that list of things they thought it might be.
yeah, broken nose. I'm good to go, man.
You mentioned you felt your feet under you and you felt good probably midway through round two. Towards the end, that's when you really started to pick things up. But you had a good poker face on in round two because you couldn't really tell. Because my thoughts, at least watching that moment, you surviving, was McGuigan is very dangerous still, but not getting a finish there for a guy who usually does get that finish, that could be very tough. It could be a bit of an adrenaline dump. So this actually could be like a momentum swing the other way in your favor. Did you and Tim and Sean feel like, hey, we took his best, and once your feet are under you, let's just push forward and take this one away from him?
I definitely did. You know, Tim was in the corner, really motivated me. Tim and Chug, they've been vouching for me for years. They know the kind of dog I am, bro. Like I grew up around this shit. I've been doing this since I was 3 years old. You really gonna have to kill me if you want me to go out. Like I thought my neck was gonna break at one point, and I was willing to. I was cool with it. You know, I was giving the ref a thumbs up because I thought I was getting close to stopping it because I felt my neck crack a bunch, and yeah, I thought my neck was gonna break, dude, and you know, I didn't care. And then, but once I did get back up, and even just ending the first round. And like I said, even though it was only the last 10 seconds, I ended the last 10 seconds stuffing one of his last few shots and ended up in a front headlock. I'm like, yo, this kid just hit me with his best shot, spinning back elbow, caught me off guard out of nowhere, then puts me in the nastiest choke ever. I'm like, he just gave me his best. He can't kill me, bro. Like he can't, he doesn't have what it takes. Like I'm a bigger dog than this kid. And I knew literally sitting on the stool after the first, I'm very analytic. You know, I'm very analytic at fighting. I think in there. I'm very actively thinking. I think my fight IQ is one of the best things about me. And I knew I was down around big time, but I was thinking in my head, I was like, you know, I stopped his wrestling. Like the only time he took me down once was when I was rocked from that shot. Other than that, I'm stopping his wrestling. I'm getting a dominant spot. Um, I feel like I just need to keep going and outdog this kid. I'm gonna break him. Like I could just see him even after that first exchange, kind of that I could see it in his eyes, you know, like that he just looked at me different when he was like, I can't put this kid out. Like I don't think he thought I could go through that at all. I've been talking like I can and I know I am. So I just had to show him that. And I saw him start to fade, you know, even in the second round. He didn't the thing about me, and I was saying going in the fight, you know, I fight that kid 10 times. I know I could finish that kid. I'm a really good fighter. You know, I got clipped and had to work through some adversity. And so I was kind of starting off from behind. But I think the biggest difference between me and this kid is like he didn't really mean it when he said like he's down to go to war. Like I want the dominant finish, but at the end of the day, bro, I'm a fighter and I like to go to war like that. I'll do that with anybody. And I don't think he really wanted to go to war as much as I did. You know, I think he was in the back of his head like, man, I can't finish this kid. And I'm more so thinking like, all right, like let's do this then. So
The third round was pretty wild because you were getting after it. He was try as he must. It didn't really work out for him. You're just peppering him up. It was just a blood and guts thing. And you said you're very analytical when you fight. You are just screaming at this man in the final like 30 seconds of this fight. You're chasing after him, you're hitting him, you're screaming at him, you're both bloody messes. What is going through your mind there? What are the analytics to the screaming and what were you actually screaming to him?
It's honestly a lot of it's just mind games too, but I realized I broke him, bro. He broke 30, 15, 30 more seconds in that fight. Go back and watch the end of the fight. I didn't let up like I was still hitting him as the bell was ringing, and he had nothing more, was backing up, wouldn't swing at me at all. It was more so me just breaking him. And I knew that about 2 minutes in the third, we were still pretty even on strikes for the third, but I feel like I was definitely getting the better of him. So I knew I just needed to turn it on to really secure that third round. I knew I needed the second and the third round, and I saw him breaking. And yeah, I mean, it's just that was had a lot of things to do too. Before, when we faced off at the weigh-ins, he opened his mouth up first. I like to gas up fights and talk to my opponents, but he opened his mouth up first, and he told me God's with him 100% tomorrow. It's his time, type of deal. So he opened up his mouth and talked to me. So I was kind of screaming at him, like, because I mean, he can't speak English, but I was like, pretty much just my way of saying, like, what? Let's talk now. You know what I mean? Like, why are you walking backwards? Like, my hands are down. Like, say something now. And he didn't want no part of that. And yeah, tough kid though, for sure. Man. I mean, he's a tough kid, but like I said at the weigh-ins, it's just not his time. It was my time.
I thought the only insane scorecard would have been you losing the fight because there's no way that was on the table. However, I thought a draw was certainly possible, and one judge saw it that way and gave him a 10-8 in the first round with the knockdowns and the near finish with the submission. Was there a part of you concerned, like, look, I'm not going to lose this fight, but maybe two of these judges scored that one to 10-8?
I didn't think so at the moment, especially, looking back at it. I did get busted up pretty good in that first round, but I still think I did a lot of dominant things in that first round before I got clipped. I stopped his takedowns. I having a good front headlock. I ended the round in a front headlock after going through that. So I'm thinking in my head, if you give him a 10-8 on the first, you got to give me a 10-8 on the third then, because that kid had nothing for me and I about finished him, 15, 30 more seconds left in the third round and he would have been finished 100%. I just think I really caught him off guard though with my good cardio. Everyone thinks I was just a first round fighter because that's all my finishes. I was a pro, but Tim Welch has said it over and over again about me. I have one of the best cardio gas tanks that he's ever seen, and that's just because I was born to do this shit. I've been fighting my whole life. You can't teach what I got, and I was ready for two. I was ready for two more rounds. I was just getting going and finding my flow state. So
you knew when the fight was over, there's no way you weren't getting a contract, right? Like maybe it wasn't, you're beat up a little bit. You got to go to the hospital. You're dealing with this laundry list of things that could have happened to you in this fight. But no matter what, you're walking away with the contract. There's no way Dana's saying, "Oh, go back and get another win, kid, and then we'll see you next year on the Contender Series," right? You were fully confident you were a UFC fighter.
Yeah, I was fully confident. I had Dana out of his seat, jumping up and down, super excited. And I think one thing Dana likes about me that he can see is, for one, I'm a very marketable kid. Outside of the cage, I have very good socials. I'm very engaged with my fans. I get a lot of support. My numbers on the Contender Series, if you go look at the weigh-ins, mine's 5x views compared to what everybody else is on the weigh-ins. And I was like the opening card. So I knew I was getting a contract after that, especially. I think Dana likes to see a kid. In a way, it kind of worked out for my favor. Who knows how the fight goes? If I don't get in that guillotine, I don't get rocked. I think the best thing you can show about a fighting at this level is something that you can't teach, and it's what I got. A lot of people, for one, couldn't have got out of that guillotine, and then for two, to come back from that round and then win and push the pedal like I did in the third after going through that first round. That's something you just really can't teach. And Dana's one of the most knowledgeable man in this sport when it comes to seeing fighters and who's got what and who doesn't, because he's been around it so long. And so I was confident that he saw that it factor in me, and that he knows, I can be a big star in this game one day if I just keep doing what I'm doing.
When you were walking to the back to talk to Laura and you could see Sean and Tim behind you, because you were saying that these guys have had my back the entire time. These guys kept telling the world, like, I'm this good. And you could see the swagger in them as they were walking back. They're just like, they didn't even have to say anything. They just had that look to them, like, told you all this guy was great. And you're talking to Laura and all that. And it made me just want to ask you, you've been with Sean through ups and downs through all of this. And now you're here getting a contract the same way he did. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from Sean to this point?
The biggest lesson I've learned in Suge is probably all the good lessons. That kid lives life as a real martial artist in and outside the cage. I think the discipline when it comes to his recovery, his rest, and the way he he eats and treats his body has been a big part of his success. And I've taken notes out of his book and used it to my advantage. So lots of good things have come from being around Tim and Suge over the years, 100%.
Couple last things. I'd be crazy if I didn't ask this because there's one picture in particular that circulated the internet. What was the celebration like? There's one photo, you and 8 women, I believe, around you that sort of was very popular on the Twitter sphere. So what was the post-fight party and / celebration like?
Yeah, dude, we had a suite at the top of the Palms, like the Empathy Suite, like one of the nicest suites you can get in Vegas. You know, I had a lot of beautiful women there, all my friends, my family, a lot of big sponsors and business people there. You know, that's just the mafia crew was, you know, my friends, my family, and, you know, all the big businesses that have helped me get to where I'm at and that have invested in me and believe in me as much as I believe in myself. You know, that was just a good party for us to kind of enjoy the lifelong dedication and sacrifices I've made to this game, to just come together for that one night and be able to just break bread together, enjoy some good time and company and have some fun, man. It was a good night, but, you know, I'm most excited to be back in AZ, back in the gym already, but, you know, hanging out with Tim and Suge, just did a podcast with Tim, just already game planning, you know, how we can get better from this fight. We were able to learn a lot. You know, we know a lot about me, but when you see yourself go in there for 15 minutes, you know, I did a lot of things wrong after getting clipped. You know, there's a lot of things I can work on, and a lot of things I did good. And now we got a really good, even better base, I would say, for us to be able to work on and grow and make a real run in this sport together. So just excited to get back to work, man.
When do you want to debut? The UFC called your team and said, when are you ready to go? You hope to get back for the end of the year? Is there a specific card you'd like to debut on that you've seen? What are you thinking?
I'm gonna open. I want to pop on the same card as my boy O'Malley. We've been doing this together for a long time. I think 2 Montana natives, you know, people that were born and raised in Montana on the same card is absolutely legendary. And you know, judging by my last fight, you guys know how I can set the mood for the night. So just go ahead and let me open up the card for my boy Suge, and I'll be happy with that.
So I do this thing for MMA fighting. It's called the question of the day. And someone asked to build the first Paramount Plus card for the UFC in January. So I had like a title fight in the main event and then like a co-main event. And then I had O'Malley in a 3-rounder because he hasn't done that in freaking forever. So let's just have him in a 3-rounder. Him and Cejudo, I think that would make a lot of sense. And then the main card opener is you versus, it doesn't even matter. Like,
you did that. Wait, you made that?
This is what I'm thinking. This is how I would. Someone was like, "How do you fantasy book the January Paramount card?" And I was like, "Let's do Harrison Nunez. Let's do Strickland, Whitaker, and let's do O'Malley, Cejudo, and then I think I did Rose Andrade 3, and then you, the main card opener against insert fellow featherweight. Like you're the main card opener, and Sean's the 3rd fight on the main card."
I like the way you think, man.
Am I onto something here? What are we thinking? Sound good?
Go ahead and send me the contract.
I like that. But is January like, that would be fine if as long as Sean is on the main card, or would you rather debut sooner?
Honestly, just I want to fight on the same card as Suge, man. If it was next week, like screw it. Let's just pretend I ain't got a broken nose. Throw me in there. Throw me in there. You know what I mean? That shit was so much fun. I had so much fun, bro. I just want to get in there ASAP, and I want it to be on the same card as Suge. I think it's only right. We've been working together for so long. It would be such a legendary moment and night for all of us and our team at Red Hawk Academy. So that's all I want to do is fight on the same card as Suge.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Well, hopefully that happens for you, Tommy. Congratulations on the win. Congrats on the contract. Big things coming your way. I think a lot of people see that. And all the best to you. Hope you recover quickly. We could see you making your UFC debut sooner rather than later, my man. Thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I appreciate you, bro.